Well, hello friends, Angus here from the Marketing Your Practice podcast, and welcome to another solo show. So in today's episode, I want to talk all about playing the long game. Now, before I get into that, have you entered the competition yet? Now, if you haven't heard of it yet, I'm giving away 3 Rode Smart Lav microphones. Now, these little beauties are valued at a little over $100 each, and they're my absolute favorite mobile microphones. So they make the videos that you're making on your phones way more professional. So it's a bit counterintuitive, but one of the ways for you to actually improve the quality of your videos is actually to improve the quality of your audio. And these are one of the simplest and most effective little ways to go about doing that as well. Now, I'm also giving away 5 enrollments to my mobile video blueprint training course. Now, this is the course where I'll take you by the hand, step by step, and I'll walk you through what's the framework for creating a magnetic, patient-attracting video. So we'll talk about how to get the most out of your mobile device. We'll talk about things like framing and lighting, how to hold your phone, and I'll even take you through a framework in terms of what to say in your video. So we'll talk about introductions, the body of the video, and of course the call to action. Now, this training sells over my website for $397, and 5 lucky people are going to get access to that absolutely for free. Now, all you have to do to go into the draw to win one of these awesome prizes is head on over to your podcast app of choice, whether that be iTunes or Spotify or Stitcher, and rate and review the show. Now, here's what's important. I need you to take a screenshot of your review, and I want you to email it to me, so angus@adiomedia.com. Now, the screenshot is important because that's the way that I'll know that you've actually rated and reviewed the show as well. So again, all you need to do, head on over to your favorite podcast app, iTunes, Spotify, etc., rate, review the show, take a screenshot of that and email that to me at angus@adiomedia.com. Now, the competition closes on October 11th and the winners will be notified by October 14th. So it's the Monday of that week afterwards. All right, let's chat about playing the long game. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I was having a chat with a bit of a podcast whiz. Charlie Vailer is his name. In fact, Charlie's going to be on the podcast coming up sometime soon. These episodes, I record so many of them in advance there too. But I was talking with Charlie at the end of the interview about ways to kind of improve my podcast. And Charlie got talking to me all about the kind of fancy equipment that he uses, the microphones that he uses, and this little kind of podcasting switchboard that he uses. And I love tech stuff. And so I got a bit of tech envy. So I did a bit of research. I worked out that this little thing called a Rode Procaster, now, the first thing I kind of realized is it had a whole bunch of functions that I really didn't have any need for, but we'll talk about more of those in a moment there. But what I was really after, as I mentioned before, was an improvement in kind of audio quality. So this was going to be about an investment of somewhere between kind of $1,000, maybe $1,200. So like a significant amount as well. So certainly not what I would suggest for you if you're just starting off your podcast. But if you're well into it, if it's already a lead generator, that it's actually bringing in new business to you and you want it to up your standards, this might be something you look at. So I went to my audio store of choice. Now, this is a place in South Melbourne, so here in Victoria, Australia. So, and they're called Factory Sound. Now, I've been shopping at Factory Sound now for a couple of years. I get all my equipment from there, and I get all my equipment there for a couple of reasons. I love the guys or the crew and the gals that work there because they are audio nerds. They're so helpful in wanting to kind of give advice, and it constantly amazes me just how unbiased they are as well. So they have massive amounts of trust with me as well. So this time I kind of walked into the store as I do any other time and kind of went up to one of the guys at the desk and said, hey, listen, I'm interested in buying this microphone and getting this Rode Procaster as well. Now, the first thing that he did is he said, tell me a little bit about why you're wanting those. What are you after? I said, look, I've got a podcast, and really what my goal is, I want to improve the quality of my audio. And then he asked another question. He said, tell me a little bit about your podcast. I said, well, I do 2 podcasts a week. One of them is an interview with somebody that's typically done over Zoom as well. And then I do one solo version, a bit like I'm doing now. And he said, well, I don't think that equipment will help you at all. And he then spent the next 5 minutes doing his very best job to talk me out of buying this equipment. And he actually went on to say the equipment that I've got at the moment, what I'm recording with right now, with just a couple little tweaks, he said will do absolutely as good a job. Now, it was interesting because I walked out of there and it got me thinking about, I was ready to spend $1,000 that day. Like I had the money with me, I kind of was part of my budget as well. And I left there having not spent that, but I left there with my trust in this store having gone even higher as well. Now, whilst I didn't spend the $1,000 there, I have told so many people about this story, and now I'm recording a podcast about it where it will go to thousands more of you that will hear this story. Now, some of you might be here in Melbourne or in Australia and you might go and buy something from Factory Sound, but most of you won't as well. But it had me thinking a lot about, how does this kind of play out with us in practice? And oftentimes, when we have people coming in to see us, do we take the opportunity to ask them a question about what outcome are they really looking for? And then do we honestly check in with inside of us, are we the best person to actually deliver that outcome for them? Now, this can be really quite a confronting type of question to ask and to really think about as well. Now, particularly if you're new in practice, if your practice is struggling, when we're wanting as much new business as we possibly can. And I think about situations where this has worked or actually come up for me. And a few years ago, I had a lovely young woman come into my practice who had a cranky back at the time. Had some lower back pain that had been really ongoing over the previous 2 or 3 years. Now, it was clear to me almost immediately that the number one contributor to her back pain was the fact that she was morbidly obese. Like I'm talking, well over 60, 70 kilos overweight. So if you're kind of into pounds, I guess that's kind of 60 or 70 times 2.2. It's probably 140 kilos overweight. And although me giving her some adjustments might help with her short-term relief, taking some stress off her nervous system is be something that would be great for her overall well-being, I really realised that the number one thing and perhaps the greatest thing that could happen for her long-term health is that she needed to lose some weight. And I knew that I wasn't the best person to help her with that, but I knew that I had a resource that would be helpful for her. So we got chatting about that in our initial consultation, and I ended up referring her straight away to a naturopath that I'd worked with, over the previous 5 years. And she went over to the naturopath. Now, I saw her back in my practice again about 4 months later, and I think by that stage she'd lost maybe 20 or 30 kilos. Her back pain hadn't gone, but it certainly decreased. And we started some adjustments at that stage. She continued to lose weight. In fact, she lost, I'm trying to think how much that she lost. Probably 50 kilos from there as well. Now, the interesting thing is this, I've lost count of the number of referrals that she sent to my practice. And she continues to remind me of that initial consultation where she knew that the number one thing that I was focused on was her well-being, not the well-being of my practice. Now, I want you to think about this too, because we're confronted with these situations each and every time. Are we looking out? Are we playing the long game? Are we doing what's best for our patients in the long term? Or are we thinking small? Are we worried about the health of our practice first? And I think too, these two situations with what happened there at Factory Sound, that I will certainly be back to them. I'm looking for opportunities for me to spend money with these guys now. And at some stage they'll get money from me, and maybe it's when my podcast changes and this new equipment is right for me. Or it'll probably come in the form of the dozens of people that I've already sent there and the dozens that I will continue to send there too. Or if I look at the situation like with a new patient I told you before, that where I realised in her situation that my clinical experience was, or my clinical judgment was, the best thing that she could do is that she could lose some weight as well. So friends, I really want to encourage you to play the long game. Not only do I think it will be better for the people that you're serving, I think in the long term it will be significantly better for your practice as well. So until next time, thanks for all that you do. Keep saving lives. You're doing a wonderful job. I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye. Angus back here again, and thanks for listening to the show. Now don't forget, for your chance to win one of 5 enrolments to the Mobile Video Blueprint training, valued at $397, or one of 3 Rode SmartLav microphones, be sure to head on over to your podcast app of choice, rate and review, take a screenshot of the review and send it to me at angus@adiomedia.com. Competition closes October 11th and winners will be notified on October 14th. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast, you have to come and check out the Community Influencer Program. It's my monthly coaching program where we take all this material and I'll work one-on-one with you to apply, implement, systematize, and help guide you and your practice to the next level. Now you can join me on over at adiomedia.com/join. That's adiomedia.com/join. I'd love to see you in there.